仏に官軍も賊軍もない。There is no right or wrong among the dead. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second episode of Japanese Street Wisdom. In the first episode, yes, I did say that this podcast would not be about yakuza. But hey, me being me, I have decided to talk about a yakuza called Shimizu no Jirocho today. As I mentioned in the first episode, he was a good yakuza. So this episode is literally going to be about street wisdom, and maybe that's what you're looking for. Shimizu no Jirocho was born in 1820 and died in 1893. So he was born at the end of the Edo period, which was the time of the samurai warriors, and died in the Meiji period when Japan started embracing her modernization. He was a yakuza, but it would be more appropriate to call him a kyokaku. Kyokaku were the kind of people who always helped the weak and went against the strong or the authority to help the weak. It's a term often used to describe a good yakuza, so to speak, but kyokaku didn't necessarily have to be a yakuza, and they were often seen as unofficial community leaders. He was born as Yamamoto Chogoro. He was adopted into his uncle's family who ran a rice distribution business. So he started out as a businessman. But hey, he loved gambling and fighting. In 1843, when he was 23, he injured, pretty much maimed someone after a fight and became a fugitive. He became a yakuza specialized in gambling and made living by organizing illegal gambling joints. Because he controlled the Shimizu area in the present-day Shizuoka prefecture, he came to be known as Shimizu no Jirocho or Jirocho of Shimizu. It is said that he had 28 henchmen who became famous for their bravery and street wisdom. In 1868, a very important incident happened in Jirocho's life. It was a time of civil war in Japan, and the conflict between the shogunate government and the new Meiji government was just about to settle down. One of the shogun's ships, called Kanariya, was staying at Shimizu to fix their ship, and the new government navy found the ship and killed all the crew on board. The new government prohibited people to bury the dead, but our hero, Shimizu no Jirocho, couldn't stand such disrespect for the dead. This is when he said the quote at the beginning of this episode, "There is no right or wrong among the dead." Actually, that was my translation, but it literally means there's no government army or rebel army among the dead. I translate it the way I did to give more universal meaning to his words, as they really summarize who he was. You can probably tell what he did, right? He of course disobeyed the government's order and buried all those who were killed in the battle to show impartial respect for everybody. Through this incident, his good heart really shone through and impressed influential leaders such as Yamaoka Teshu, and they developed a deep friendship. Jirocho eventually left his old ways and contributed to the modernization of Japan, and even established the first English language school in entire Japan to raise the future leaders. Now, was he a good person? Well, he was and wasn't. Yes, he was a yakuza. He broke many laws, gambled illegally, and killed people. But also, he was a man who kept his policy never to harm the weak and save them. He left his old ways and contributed to make Japan and the world a better place. Yes, we can probably say his life was a little extreme, but does show us the complexity of being human. We're good and bad and somewhere in between at the same time. It is really easy to be black and white and label others and even ourselves. But knowing that we all have potential to go either way, good or bad or somewhere in between, gives us a sort of comfort and warning at the same time. Human beings are fragile creatures, but that makes us immensely beautiful at the same time. Hope you enjoyed the second episode of Japanese Street Wisdom. If you liked it, please do share it with your friends and family so I can reach out to more people to share what I have learned from Japanese wisdom of the past. Thank you so much again for listening to this episode, and see you again in the next episode.